Hi, this is the first of several videos that you'll have in this course orientation, and they're all just to help you navigate the course. And we're going to start by looking at our syllabus together. So you'll find the syllabus on the left-hand toolbar here, and if you click on that, you'll see that there's two files. One is labeled Syllabus, which we'll look at in a moment. The other is labeled College Policies Document, and that one is going to be the same information you would get for any course at the college. So information about withdrawing and things like that. Do take a look at it. There's information there that if you're not familiar with our college policies will be useful. But we're going to look together at the information that's specific to our course. And so if you take a look at the syllabus, the first page has some very basic information, including the name of our course, but also information on how to reach me. My office is in Kinney Hall 601, but I'm not there in the summers. And so don't go looking for me there. If you need to speak to me, email is a really good, quick way that typically you'll get a response from me the same day. And so if you have quick questions, that is a good way to reach out to me. If you don't hear back from me from an email within 24 hours, then something's gone wrong. So if you don't hear back from me within 24 hours, it means something's gone wrong. And most typically that will either mean that you misspelled my name and it didn't get to me, or it could mean that I've somehow missed your email. So always, if you don't hear back from me within 24 hours, you can just follow up, by resending the email and asking me whether I've seen the email, and I will not be insulted. But typically you'll hear from me the same day. I check my email frequently. If you need to set up an appointment with me to meet for any reason, I'm happy to do that. A quick email to set up a time, giving me some idea of what your availability is, would be really good. And I can typically arrange that for just about any day if I need to. Okay. The textbook, as you saw in an earlier email from me, is a free textbook. The PDF is available in Blackboard. We'll look at that in the next video. But that's available to you. If you want a hard copy, you can also buy a hard copy online if you'd like to, and hopefully you've already taken a look at those options. So if we scroll down here in the syllabus, you'll see learning outcomes. These will be repeated and in most cases expanded in each chapter in Blackboard as well. But these are a nice guide to what I expect you to be able to do with the information you're encountering in each chapter. So these are a good thing to take a look at. All of our course will take place on Blackboard. There will not be any meetings. There will not be any in-person or virtual meetings or any specific times when you need to be present in the course. But there are due dates, as we'll take a look at in a moment. There are due dates on Wednesdays and Sundays every week, and those really are kind of immovable. So while you can work at noon on Tuesday or midnight on Tuesday, it doesn't matter. You do need to have work done on the dates that it's due. So in that way you can work on your own, but kind of not at your own pace. The pace is set by the course. But everything you need will be on Blackboard, and we'll look at the Blackboard setup in the next video. My evaluation, the grading, is essentially the same as the rest of the college in terms of what level of performance equals an A or a B and so on. What we will talk about is the fact that we work on a 1,000-point system. And so what that means is everything that you get graded from me is worth a certain number of points. And those points, if you engaged perfectly with everything, would add up to 1,000. And so the grid here with the translation between numbers and letter grades just is on a 1,000-point system instead of a 100-point system, so that you can make those translations. So we can talk about how you're going to earn your grade, right? So we have a 1,000-point system, and I really love a 1,000-point system for two reasons. First, I think, is transparency, that you're not having to wonder where you are with your grade. You'll always know that you've lost 20 points on something, or you haven't lost any points on something else. And so if you want to, you can start today as if you have 1,000 points. And then as you lose points on different things, you can subtract from 1,000, and that will give you a very good sense of where you are. It will also give you a very good sense of how motivated you should be to pursue the extra credit opportunities that exist on and off throughout the course. And so you'll always know, oh, I lost 10 points and that's brought me lower than I want to be. Let me do an extra credit and earn 10 points back. And most of those extra credits are worth 10 points, and that's, and so that's a nice way of being able to gauge that. There also is a final extra credit at the end of the semester worth 30 points, and that gives you a little bit more of an opportunity towards the end to decide that you really want to bump your grade up and engage with that extra credit as well. The other thing I really like, other than transparency with a 1,000-point system, is that you keep every point you earn. So in a traditional grading, if you get a 50 out of 100 on an exam, which isn't great, then you get an F for that exam, and you get 0 credit, right? An F is 0 credit, which means that it's the same as if you didn't show up to take the exam, and the 50 points that you earned go away. In a 1,000-point system, you keep those 50 points, and so it gives you the ability to, even if things don't go well, to not have an exam, for example, that hasn't gone will be a complete throwaway. You still earn the 50 points and get that much closer to the 1,000 points. And so I like that, and that it feels fairer to me as well. So let's take a look at how you're going to earn your grade. There are going to be 4 exams throughout the semester. So roughly, because it's a 4-week course, roughly 1 a week, right? Every 2 chapters, after we finish 2 chapters, then you'll have an exam. There's no cumulative midterm, there's no cumulative final, just the 4 exams equally spaced every 2 chapters. Those are worth 100 points each for 400 possible points. In addition, you're going to have 1 written paper that's worth 150 points, but there is an additional 10 points that you'll earn by submitting an article that you're going to use to me ahead of time. There'll be a separate video when we talk about the paper, so I'm not going to go into that in detail here. And then you will have online reading quizzes for each chapter. So those are to give you motivation, essentially, to read and understand the chapter. You'll be able to take those quizzes as many times as you like. Blackboard will add to your score the highest grade you earn. They're worth 15 points each. And so it's not that there are a lot of points individually, but they are altogether worth 120 points, so you do want to engage with those reading quizzes. The other thing you have is required discussions, 2 required discussions for each chapter. We have 8 chapters. So it's a total of 16 discussions. One of those discussions will be what is called a muddiest point discussion, where you're required to raise a question, pose a question about the content. Something that you want to understand better because you're struggling with it, or something you just want to know more about because you're interested in it, but you have to pose a question. And you'll also be required to attempt to answer a question for at least 1 classmate. And then I will also jump into those and answer those questions. Your other discussion forum is going to be in response to a prompt that I provide. Sometimes that is experimenting with something you learned. So, for example, in the learning chapter, coming up with a learning plan in response to a case. And so those are in response to prompts, specific prompts. And so that adds up altogether, all of those things, to 1,000 points. And then I mentioned there'll also be extra credit opportunities. They just kind of get put into the bucket of points. And so potentially a student could wind up with more than 1,000 points in the end. But the extra credit points are just counted as points the same way everything else is. So do read my message. My message is about our pacing. It's also about the fact that I know life has continued to be challenging for many people, and that I will make every attempt to make reasonable accommodations if people need them. I can always more easily make adjustments for you if I know ahead of time you have a problem. So if you're sick, you tell me the first day if you're sick, if you can, rather than telling me a week later that you were sick. But I can't make accommodations for things like planned time away from the course. We all need to be present on the course continually. I can tell you that I'll be outside of Connecticut for one of the weeks in our course, and I will bring my laptop and Wi-Fi with me so that I can continue to be engaged, and you'll need to do the same if you plan to be away from Connecticut. And so, the reality is that I need to submit grades to the college. You need to be done by July 8th so I can do that. And so there's really not room beyond the 4 weeks to extend things. And even within our course, there's really not opportunity. Once your classmates are done with the discussions, for example, there's no way for you to engage in the discussions because everyone else is done with it. And so while some things have flexibility for me, there are makeups for exams, etc., some things that are collaborative and you need to be doing them at the same time as your classmates. So let's just take a quick look at the calendar. Hopefully you've already looked at this on your own, right? Our chapters will always open either on a Wednesday or on a Sunday. If they open on a Wednesday, then they close on Sunday. If they open on a Sunday, they close on Wednesday. So there's always going to be a day of overlap between the two of them. And then that's just to give you more flexibility in when you're getting work done. I will have individual due dates for the chapters that will be visible in Blackboard as soon as the chapter opens, so that in addition to being on the syllabus, you'll be able to see that on Blackboard very clearly. Here on the syllabus, you'll see that you have the opening day, the day that the chapter opens, and the day the chapter closes. You have a quiz due for each chapter, and you have discussions, as we said, due for each chapter, and those are going to be due either on the Sunday or the Wednesday. So you have the whole time period to get things done, to be reading the chapter, to be taking and retaking your quiz, to be posting, and to be answering classmates. You have the whole period. You'll also see the exams listed here in our calendar, as well as when work is due for your paper. And it's, I think, laid out pretty clearly, though I'm happy to answer questions if you have any. So hopefully that's given you a sense, a beginning sense of what's required and looking at the syllabus. In the next video, we'll take a look at just the setup for Blackboard, and we'll go from there. Okay.